Now at 5, Carthage school officials discuss plans for a new baseball stadium. Plus, the 4th of July weekend can be stressful for pets. We'll have some advice to keep them calm. And
the Supreme Court issues 2 major rulings dealing blows to student debt forgiveness and LGBTQ+ protections. I'm Willie James Inman outside the court with details and reaction to both decisions.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
President Biden says the fight isn't over after the Supreme Court tossed out his student loan forgiveness plan, which would have wiped out nearly $500 billion in debt for millions of Americans. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The court's conservative majority also dealt a blow to gay rights in another ruling. We're going to have local reaction in a moment to the student forgiveness plan, but first, reporter Willie James Inman has the latest from outside the Supreme Court.
No justice! No peace!
Advocates for student debt relief marched from the Supreme Court to the White House following the court's ruling against President Biden's plan to forgive up to $20,000 in student loans for millions of Americans.
Student debt cancellation is legal and it is just, no matter what the Supreme Court says.
The administration had argued it had the power under a 2003 federal law to forgive the loans during national emergencies such as the coronavirus pandemic. But in the 6-3 decision by the court's conservative majority, Chief Justice Roberts wrote that the act allows the Secretary of Education to waive or modify existing provisions, not to rewrite that statute from the ground up. Critics of the plan held the decision.
My heart goes out to people who are really hoping to have that relief. I have student loans. I certainly would have benefited. But hey, at the end of the day, let's get Congress, if that's what we want. Let's talk to our congressmen.
In another major decision, the court's conservative majority sided with a Christian website designer who said she didn't want to create wedding websites for same-sex couples because of her religious beliefs. The justices ruled in favor of Lori Smith, who argued that her free speech rights were violated by a Colorado law prohibiting businesses open to the public from refusing service because of sexual orientation.
This decision is not what our Constitution, what our democratic republic stands for, which is founded on the promise of equal justice for all.
It is the latest Supreme Court win for religious rights. Willie James Inman, CBS News, Washington.
At the Missouri Southern campus, we spoke with students and parents to get their reaction to the student loan forgiveness news. With the Supreme Court blocking the plan, current college students are still impacted. Some were upset with the decision. Others wholeheartedly agreed with the Supreme Court's conclusion.
I get what they're coming from, that college is super expensive and it's not as cheap as it used to be, like back in the day whenever they were going through college. But with that being said, they still enrolled and they knew what the price was going to be, and they can't just be like betting on somebody else to pay it for them.
The decision leaves millions of Americans now looking to how they will repay those loans. The Carthage School District says the $2.5 million grant announced yesterday will go a long way toward building a new baseball stadium, but there will still be work to do. Kent and Mary Steadley Memorial Trust announced a pledge of $2.5 million to the school district. The development comes as a silver lining following the loss of the historic Carl Luton Stadium, which was deemed unsafe earlier this year. Mark Baker, the outgoing superintendent, says he hopes the community will help in pitching in to complete the stadium.
If we were trying to build the true stadium with concession stands, restrooms, storage rooms, we'll need a little over $4 million. We're very grateful for the $2.5 we will receive from Steadley Trust, so we're hoping some other people might step up now and help donate and finish the project.
Baker says the new baseball stadium will be on the northeast corner of the high school campus. Another hot day out there. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, not quite as bad as yesterday, but yeah, pretty much as bad. Temperatures once again upper 90s to right around 100 degrees. We've had mostly sunny skies all day long, so not a whole bunch going here, but we are tracking some thunderstorms out to the west, and this will actually start to affect us as we go into the daytime hours tomorrow. So the start of the holiday weekend. Look at our temps, upper 90s. It's 100 in Yates Center. Then you factor in the humidity and it makes it feel even worse. We have heat indices 102, 103, 104 across the region. Thankfully, temperatures are actually going to dip down a little bit as we go into the weekend. For the evening hours, hot, mainly dry. There could be one or two isolated little guys, but thunderstorm chances are going to pop up late tonight and then as we go into the weekend. So we're going to look at that holiday weekend forecast here in just a bit.
See you soon. According to veterinarians and dog specialists, more pets go missing around the 4th of July than at any other time of year. And the blame, they say, is on the loud sounds of the fireworks that trigger fear and anxiety in a lot of dogs. Distracting your furry friend and crating them can be good strategies for the holiday. Another idea is talking to your vet. They might be able to prescribe an anxiety medication for your pet. But an important warning, it's not advised to give human anxiety medication to your dog.
The dosages are very different, so you could actually overdose your pet and cause some unintentional harm.
You know, whenever she hears the boom, she sort of like freezes and like looks around and then tries to run away like with her tail between her legs, and it's very sad.
Medeiros also recommends making sure the dog is microchipped and properly registered, so if the pet does run away, it can be identified and found. We're going to hear other strategies to help your dog and also your cat stay safe during the 4th of July tonight at 6. A company that found remains of OceanGate's Titan submersible is sharing new information about the recovery effort. The 9-person crew of Pelagic Research Services went into their mission hoping to find the 5 people inside still alive. On board the Titan were Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman, British billionaire Hamish Harding, French explorer Paul-Henri Nargolet, and Stockton Rush, OceanGate's American CEO, who piloted the Titan. Edward Cassano, the CEO of Pelagic, became emotional as he explained their tragic discovery.
Shortly after arriving on the seafloor, we discovered the debris of the Titan submersible. Of course, we continued to document the site, and by 12 o'clock, sadly, a rescue turned into a recovery. I have to apologize, we're still demobilizing. It's a lot of emotions. People are tired.
Pelagic used its remotely operated vehicle system called Odysseus 6K to reach the Titan at a depth of nearly 4,000 meters. The U.S. Coast Guard is leading an investigation to piece together how the Titan imploded. Still ahead, reducing the effects of a common eye condition.
It's Cataracts Awareness Month. I'm Michael George with how doctors are now custom designing eye procedures to suit patients' lifestyles.
And next in Health Watch, the CDC approves a new RSV vaccine for older adults. We'll have details. Topping today's Health Watch, there's a new drug to worry about out there. Data from the CDC shows a drug called xylazine appears to be getting much more popular. The agency reports it was present in nearly 11% of fentanyl overdose deaths in June of last year. 2.5 years earlier, it was found in only 3% of cases. Sometimes referred to using the slang trang, xylazine is a tranquilizer that's generally used for horses but has no approved use in humans. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has given the green light to 2 new RSV vaccines for older adults, and it expects them to be available in the fall. The vaccine from GSK, formerly called GlaxoSmithKline, was the world's first RSV vaccine for older adults. According to Consumer Reports, the amounts of certain heavy metals in baby food are getting lower. But the overall risk has not changed in the past 5 years. The amounts of lead, arsenic, and cadmium in baby foods appear to be on the decline. However, there are still concerns, particularly considering declines in certain heavy metals were offset by increases in others. Long-term intake of heavy metals can cause health and developmental problems, including lower IQs and ADHD. June is Cataract Awareness Month. Reporter Michael George shows us one man who regained his vision, nearly lost to cataracts, and how doctors are now tailoring eye procedures to suit patients' lifestyles.
Robert Skingle faced a terrifying prospect, losing his sight to cataracts, cloudy areas on the lens of the eye that cause blurry vision.
Driving late at night or early in the morning when it's still dark, headlights were halos, and that's not good. So I knew I needed to do something.
And look up for me, please.
Skingle went to Dr. Masako Chen at the New York Eye and Ear Infirmary of Mount Sinai. She told him he'd need a surgery called phacoemulsification.
This is the lens that we remove during your cataract surgery and insert an artificial lens inside.
Doctors consult with the patient to choose the right artificial lens to suit their vision needs, whether it's for their job or their hobbies.
Do they enjoy long distance activities like golfing? Do they enjoy reading for long periods of time? And so we can kind of make their prescription after cataract surgery whatever they want to meet their lifestyle needs.
For Skingle, an antique dealer, seeing details up close was critical.
Oh my gosh, the difference is amazing. Things are clearer.
Cataracts are the leading cause of blindness worldwide, and it's often linked to aging. Doctors say the best thing all of us can do to prevent them is wear sunglasses when outside. Skingle says his eyesight hasn't been this good in decades.
The sharpness is amazing. Incredible.
For him, seeing is believing. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Doctors say diabetics are at a much higher risk for developing cataracts and should talk with their doctors about how to prevent them. That is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, TSA is preparing for another holiday travel weekend. We're going to have some tips to help you prepare as well.
Plus, we have some thunderstorm chances in the forecast as we head into the holiday weekend. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it's turned out to be another smoking hot day outside for us today. Most of us right around 100, but heat indices have been higher than that. So it feels hotter than what it actually is, but it feels hot enough across the region. Nice shot. This is an Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Look at our temps. Right now, we're sitting at 98 in Nevada, 95 in Neosho. Chatopa is at 99, 100 in Yates Center, Grand Lake checking in at 95 degrees. And our humidity is up there. These are our dew points, upper 60s to near 70 degrees. So when they get high like that, of course, that's when it makes it feel hotter than what it is. It feels like 105 at Stockton, 103 in Cassville, 102 in Veneta. Iola feels like 101. Thankfully, these numbers are going to come down a bit as we go into the weekend, which is always pretty much great news. All right, not much going on outside for us. We can't rule out a random isolated shower trying to pop up this evening, but most of you are going to be dry. Most of the storms stay up near Kansas City, out across central western Kansas, but it's that batch we got to keep our eyes on as we go into the daytime hours tomorrow. It's going to give us some scattered thunderstorms, but these are still pretty good distance away from most of us. We still have this big dome of high pressure, but it's kind of been sinking a little bit farther toward the south and to the east as this wave kicks out, and that's going to help our temperature. So we're not going to be as hot as we go through the next couple days. All right, let's step through time. We're going to stop tomorrow morning. A few random little showers out there. Most of us are going to be dry, but as we go through the morning hours, scattered thunderstorms start to pop up. Kansas and Oklahoma. These are going to be very scattered, not widespread. As we continue through the morning into the early afternoon, these push into southwestern Missouri, but I think most of the evening hours looking pretty good. Look at our temps too. We're sitting into the upper 80s. Then on the backside of this system, we could get a few scattered thunderstorms late tomorrow evening into the overnight hours. Cold front sinks through. We get into the 60s by Sunday morning. So Sunday is going to be a great day. We're going to have partly sunny skies. Temperatures are going to go into the upper 80s to near 90 degrees, plus the humidity is going to be quite a bit lower as we go into Sunday afternoon. Heat indices not as bad on Saturday. Still going to be in the upper 90s to near 100, but better than what we have been seeing over the past couple days. And then, of course, if we break down the weekend for you, 89 tomorrow, 91. So significantly cooler. It's still hot, scattered storms tomorrow, a few scattered storms tomorrow night, and then Sunday is shaping up pretty good. Let's head toward the holiday. Monday, here comes the heat again. Upper 90s, 4 highs, a few scattered thunderstorms late, and then on the 4th itself, upper 90s to near 100 degrees, and again, we could get some scattered thunderstorms in there. Hopefully, not during fireworks time, but at least we're going to cool down a little bit over the next couple days. 89 tomorrow, 91 on Sunday, 96 on Monday. On the 4th of July, 98 degrees. Better chances for thunderstorms by Wednesday. And then look at this, a nice stretch of 80s moving in late next week into next weekend. But yeah, it's July pretty much, so it's going to be hot.
Yeah, and a stretch of 80s in the future doesn't look bad.
Not bad.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up, we're going to take a look at a new app that's helping Americans save on their grocery trips. Topping today's Consumer Watch, AAA predicts nearly 51 million Americans will travel for the July 4th holiday. The TSA is preparing for a flood of flyers during a week that saw thousands of delays. Chris Van Cleve reports.
By land and by air, Americans are showing their independence by being on the move for the holiday weekend, a potentially record rush out of town. Denise Morales is leaving Phoenix for a European vacation.
I am excited. I've been waiting a long time to go on this trip, so it's like exciting that like 4 years later it's finally happening.
AAA expects 43.2 million will drive, up 2.4% from last year, an increase helped by gas prices that are more than $1.30 lower on average than this time last year.
We're saving it. Yeah, happy to save as much money as we can anytime.
Have a great flight.
Thank you.
The number of people flying for the 4th is expected to surge 11% over 2022.
Be prepared for anything to go bad and be thrilled when everything goes perfectly.
Airline industry analyst Henry Hartevelt recommends picking the airline with the most options to where you're going.
Take a nonstop flight if it's available and in your budget, and try to take the first available flight of the day. Those are generally less susceptible to delays.
The TSA expects to screen nearly 18 million over the next week, with Friday a potential record breaker at checkpoints.
What would you tell flyers to reduce their risk of disruption to their plans?
Yeah, I tell them just a little preparation goes a long way.
TSA Administrator David Pekoski.
First thing we're going to ask you for is your identity. So have that ready. That starts things off on the right foot. The other thing that we see oftentimes is people have a lot of things in their pockets.
United CEO Scott Kirby offered this suggestion.
Be patient with everyone and try to be nice to all your fellow travelers. All of us are going to do our best to get you there on time and with your bags.
Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Phoenix.
A food app is bringing deals to customers just in time for the 4th of July. Flash Food is partnering with grocery stores to offer families discounts on products that are nearing their best buy date. Many of the app's deals happen on or after a major holiday like Independence Day. Users can purchase items directly on the app and then pick them up at the store in Flash Food's designated fridge. Final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, Steve Hartman takes us on the road with an inspiring man who turns loss into light, using his trumpet to collect small bills and create big change. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more tips on keeping our pets calm during 4th of July celebrations. Plus, universities in Missouri react to the Supreme Court ruling on affirmative action. And Frontenac High School hosts wrestling coaches from Oklahoma State University for a camp for kids. Stay with us. CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. After 2 decades of effort, Virgin Atlantic has successfully launched its first paying customers to the edge of space and back. Yesterday, the company's inaugural commercial flight took passengers more than 50 miles above Earth into altitudes the U.S. considers the boundary of space. Passengers included 2 Italian Air Force personnel, an Italian national researcher, and a Virgin Galactic astronaut instructor. Here at ground level, it's kind of hot out there.
It is. It's going to be a hot evening. Temperatures dropping back through the 80s, eventually into the upper 70s later on tonight. 89 tomorrow, 91 on Sunday, 4th of July, high temp of 98.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. We'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.